rushing a bit in places. I think that time through I managed to kind of like grab the tempo and pull it back a little bit, but I'm falling into that trap that most everybody is going to fall into of pushing ahead a bit too much on all these ascending lines. To compensate while playing this study, if I catch myself doing it, I try to just like pull it back a bit on the descending lines, but I feel like there's no rubato here. In context, in that symphony, there's not really any rubato there. If there is, it's very minimal. Everything's quite steady, quite even. It just kind of chugs along, you know? Obviously, different interpretations, different orchestras, different conductors are going to play it differently, but that's my best memory of that section of that piece. So now I'm going to start working on it with the metronome. I might go a bit slower. Yeah, so there I'm rushing a little bit. It wasn't that bad. For me, like the biggest, not struggle, the thing to be most aware of is like the easier finger moments and the more difficult ones, because making the easy ones sound perfectly in time is not going to be a problem as long as I'm kind of being conscious of what I'm doing and I'm not rushing. But making the more difficult ones sound just as easy and smooth, that's going to be more difficult. And really, and something like this kind of vibe, this kind of musical moment, it's not thinking, oh, I got to make my fingers move faster through the difficult passages. It's actually the opposite. I need to make my fingers move a touch slower. I need to really hear each of those notes speak evenly. Because for myself, I don't know if this is like a universal truth, but I feel like it's pretty common. But like when I have a difficult technical finger passage to play, I make the mistake subconsciously of like trying to zoom through it, like trying to get it over with quickly. And I think it comes from like kind of very human response to like doing something you don't feel super secure at or super amazing at or super comfortable doing, and then trying to just make it over as soon as possible. So I'm trying to trick my mind into doing the opposite, settling into those moments a bit more and kind of like really enjoying those pitches where the fingerings are a bit difficult so that I really hear them and that they sound nice and full and clear, and that'll hopefully create some more rhythmic accuracy. So I'm gonna go from the beginning again. Before. I don't know if it was a connection between the C and the F sharp. It might have been. I'm not sure. I'm going to go back just a little bit from there so I can try that in context again. Better. I'm gonna go on. I'm still rushing it just a little bit. See, that's the hardest part of this study for me, and I'm trying to rush through it, which is really only making it harder. So I need to fight against that. I'm gonna start at the top of the page again. That's another spot. For some reason, I want to add a C sharp in there, and there's not one. I was rushing a bit at the end there because I didn't have enough air. I'm going to make sure I grab a breath there. Unlike other studies I've done in this collection specifically, but also like in the rows that are very technique driven, very technically difficult, what I've done in those is I kind of just breathe when I need to, take a pause when I need to, and focus on, working on the technique. It's also the same way I approach the Kel staccato exercises that I've been working on Tuesdays. I'm not going to do that here because this study is very representative of what it's like to play this piece in context. I am not going to stop for random breaths. Of course, in the orchestra, there's some overlap with the second clarinet part. So like if you have to drop out for just like a couple of notes or whatever, there are a couple of places where that's totally fine. Instead, I'm going to work on my quick breathing through here, grabbing breaths when I need to, and continuing on. In this piece, it's very much okay to clip those 8th notes before the 16th rest, like just a hair, because it moves so quickly to grab, like have just like a millisecond more time to grab some air. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also like, if I'm in one of the longer phrases and I'm running out of air, I am going to kind of push myself to finish without taking a premature break to breathe. Again, because that's very much how it works, like in context in the actual piece. I'm going to go from the top of this page again and keep going. I didn't do that loud enough. So I'm going to go back to that piano at the end of that section I just finished. That was a little bit rushed. Let me go back one line and try that again. Better. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. As a practice technique, I think it's totally valid to put a little bit of like tenuto or emphasis on the first 16th of each of these 4/16 groupings, but I don't think you want to let yourself get too stuck there. Like use it as a technique, as a way to practice it, to make sure that you're staying right with the metronome. But the way this movement works, there's not really like a heavy emphasis on each downbeat. It would just be, and if you're playing like, I think like chamber music, if you're playing something in like a wind quintet or similar, where you have a bunch of moving notes and you really need to coordinate with your teammates, your fellow musicians, a little bit of emphasis on certain downbeats or certain beats can really help facilitate that. But you don't want to fall into the trap of like altering the flow or the style of the music to suit where you're currently at. If you are really struggling and you have to play this piece, and the most successful you can possibly be is if you play with emphasis on the downbeats, then do that, because that just represents where you're at on that given day at that given time. And I think sometimes we have to just accept that the current skill level is just where we're at and kind of honor that and use it in the moment. So now I'm going to go even slower. I'm not going to let myself speed up the tempo until I can handle my stuff at the slower tempo. So I'm going to slow this down to, I'm going to go painfully slow. It's going to feel painfully slow to me to slow it down. I'm slowing it down to 76. We were at 96 before. And I'm going to force myself to just totally lock in with this much slower tempo and preserve the dynamics. So I'll just go ahead and go from the top again. dreadful. But there were definitely some places where I noticed that my fingers were not as accurate as I thought they were. If you really want to put your technical playing under a microscope a bit, or really find out where things, if you're playing it faster and you feel like you're almost there, but there's like something in certain places that's not right, slow it way down, like way slower than you think you want or need to go. And you'll find where there are like movements in your hands and your technique that are like, when you're going faster, they feel like a bit off and they result in things being like a bit messy or not as clean as they could be. But then when you slow it down, it becomes like, it really highlights that. So you can find like where your note to note connections are kind of less than perfect, or where they need a little bit more time and attention. I'm gonna do it one more time at this tempo, and then I'm gonna go back to my original tempo. That was sharp. I played an E that time, and I don't know if that's something I did wrong before, if that was just a that time thing. I'm gonna go back like a line or so. I'm gonna do that again. So I think now I'm going to go from the top. So I'm going to go from the beginning again. I'm going to go 5 clicks faster. Really want to establish like the control and the evenness at the slower tempo, so that I can preserve that as much as possible at the faster tempos. And I am going to go a bit faster than I started. All right, let me try this at this slightly faster, but still under tempo. Go back 4 measures. wasn't bad. I'm going to go ahead and do it 5 clicks faster. This will put me, so this is 5 clicks under where I started. Go from the beginning one more time. Back a couple lines and do that over. Not too bad, except for that one spot. I got derailed a little bit. That had more to do with me blinking and looking back at the wrong spot. Well, no, there was a finger mistake too. I looked at the wrong spot and then fingers stumbled and it just didn't work. So I think now I'm going to do it back at the tempo I started, and then I'm going to work on speeding up a little bit. So let me try back at the tempo I started before I start pushing it faster. And this is quarter note equals 96. I am going to try it faster now. The real challenge will be after I've played it faster a couple times, or a couple faster speeds, coming back to this tempo, which is my current goal performance tempo, and not rushing like crazy. So now I'm going to go 10 clicks faster, see how it goes. to try this another 10 clicks faster and see how it goes. And then the real challenge, I'm going to go back and play it at my original tempo, but without the metronome and hopefully without rushing. So this is going to be very quick. So now I'm going to reacquaint myself with my starting tempo, which is quarter note equals 96. And then I'm going to try and play it without the metronome, but at tempo. So let me try it from the beginning, back at my original tempo.